Jean Pascal and
Get my
also
money,
cruiserweight
Jay. Get
contender.
my motherfucking money, Jay. Get my motherfucking money, Jay. Get my motherfucking money, Jay.
All right, boys. Kurt, I gotta tell you, I am so excited for this new show format. Like,
I think the viewers, you guys are gonna love this one. A lot fresher content. It's gonna be a little more up to date, and it's gonna be still the same good takes you love.
oh yeah, we're gonna have hot takes coming out every week, no matter if it's an hour or half an hour. It doesn't matter. I'm coming out with the hottest takes around. So it is what it is. Well, we'll get right into it because we don't have much time now. But I love that. I love just getting right off the jump, just getting right into it.
Yeah.
You heard it. Jake Paul won against Ben Askren. I gotta tell you, Saturday night or Sunday morning, they went on so late. It was like 1 o'clock before they got on or something like that. I gotta tell you, I had a severe depression over that win by Jake Paul. I gotta tell you, because that was unforeseen. I will say that.
I
I
think
am shocked.
I think you owe a big apology after all the trash you were talking.
I mean,
you had a big hot take about that fight. I think it was last Friday, yeah, right before. And
I mean, listen, I'm gonna let my man step in here, because you asked for an apology, and Jake Paul has been calling this guy out, and I'm gonna let my boy step in here and tell you what I think about giving an apology to Jake Paul.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
Exactly. So I will not apologize to Jake Paul. Okay, let's start out. The event, the whole boxing event was an absolute gong show.
that
I mean,
was
it was
it
ridiculous.
a concert or a fight? Like,
Dude, it was ridiculous. Like, they would do a fight and then they would have like somebody
four
perform
performers.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like a halftime show in between like the mid card fights. Like, it was so weird. Like, I turned it on and Frank Mir of all people was fighting. I was like, I didn't even know Frank Mir was on this card, and he looked terrible. He's not a boxer. He doesn't box the way he should. When he was like 40 pounds. He was maybe even more. Like, he was heavy. He was way heavier than the other guy. He just didn't box the way he should when you're that much heavier than your opponent. And then they would come out and they would do like 4 songs, like these singers. And one was like Doja Cat or something like that. I don't even know her name.
Yeah.
She's
Doja
the one that sings that like the TikTok song where it's like the silhouette challenge.
Yeah.
She sings that.
Yep.
And dude, when she sang that, I was like, there was half naked women all over the stage, and I was like, am I getting a free show here or something? Like, what's going on with it? Like 2 in 1? Like, am I getting a strip tease plus a boxing event? Okay.
I honestly forgot that it was a boxing match because it felt like for every one boxing match there was 4, like you said, 4 performers. I totally forgot. I was like, well, I guess we're tuning into this concert tonight, because I was like, oh wait, there's still a Jake Paul and Ben Askren to go later. Like, by the time like they were on, it had to be like after 1, right?
Yeah, it was so late. Like, and that Doja Cat, there was one guy who was like a guitar player, and he was just like up there riffing and whatever. And I was like, this guy loves his fucking job. He's just on stage. All these girls are around him that are like almost naked. And I was like, this guy loves his job. So then it gets on to the fight right before Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. And this was a boxing match. It was actually a boxing match. But the end of it was so crazy. So it's like this Ivan Roachkin or whatever his fucking name is. I don't really care.
Yeah.
He's getting worked. Like, he's losing the fight or whatever. And this guy throws a a right hand like body shot, and this guy goes down like he was just shot, and he's saying that that the guy hit him in the nuts. And so he's down, he's like writhing around, he's rolling, he's like holding his bag, and he's like, oh, like I'm down. And they're showing the replay, and like it hit, like the punch hit him in like the ribs, like nowhere close.
Nowhere
to
close.
his
Oh
balls.
my, yeah.
But he's down, he's not getting back up, and they're like, this guy is actually looking for a way out of this fight. And so I tweeted out, and I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, and this guy should never get a boxing match again for doing something like that. Anyways, so that guy loses. He whatever. I don't even know what happened. I guess he technically lost. He didn't forfeit or anything. He'll never fight again, I don't think. And then Justin Bieber had a little show, which actually wasn't bad. But then came the main event. And Ben Askren comes out there, and he's looking like the dad from down the street. His horrible body. He's rolling out there, and I was like, he doesn't look great. But I'm like, hey, you know, don't judge a book by its cover, Tuck. You know, don't do that.
Yep.
So fight starts. Jake Paul comes out with like a robot behind him, and I'm like, what is this? This is like the most ridiculous thing ever. Jake Paul comes out, and within under 2 minutes, Jake Paul knocks out Ben Askren.
I don't even think, was it even 2 minutes? Might have been like a minute, but it was definitely, it was under 2 minutes probably.
He knocks him out. I am shocked that this just happened. Like, I'm like, what? I was shocked at how bad Ben Askren looked.
Yeah, but can we talk about something? You've obviously watched him fight before.
Yeah.
Are we not going to talk about how questionable that was? This guy has stood in the UFC ring. We could show this clip. But this guy was laying on I forget who he was fighting.
Robbie Lawler?
Yes. Taking a beating for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and proceeded to win that fight. I was like, there's no way, not a chance. This guy just got knocked out by Jake Paul. And then he was saying the ref called it. He said he was fine, but it doesn't matter. He went down like pretty hard. It looked like So I was like, Ben Askren. I was like, you either made it look really good,
right?
Or maybe we got to give some credit to Jake Paul, but he went down hard. And I was like, there's no way. We've seen this guy in the UFC take a beating.
It's very questionable because that video that you watch, like he's getting hammer fisted by Robbie Lawler and he's taking it. But I do think the difference though between between boxing and UFC or MMA is that in MMA, because he was getting pounded on the ground, and I think in MMA you can hide it a little bit if you're kind of out of it, because you could just grab the guy and just hold on. Where in boxing you can't, like you can't grab onto the guy. You're standing there. You gotta engage with them. So
I still think though a lot of people were asking questions about that just because they know he got his money and they know. Right. So like, did he just get his money and dip? Like, I don't know. That's very questionable.
He might have. He honestly might have. I mean, that guy in the fight before 100% did. He looked like he just quit. But anyways, before the fight, I took a video because Pete Davidson was kind of hosting it.
He was hilarious.
Oh, he was so funny. And by the way, we didn't even mention it. There was a slap fight, which is so crazy. There's a slap fight on this card where two grown men stand right across from each other and just wind up and slap each other as hard as they can. And basically whoever gets knocked out loses. Like, it's so crazy. This is a boxing
the whole
match
day.
event.
It was a wild event.
Oh my God. So Pete Davidson is hosting it and he's absolutely hilarious. The Nature Boy was at the slap boxing match or match, if you want to call it that. Ric Flair was in the house and I absolutely love it. But so Pete Davidson's hosting it. He's at the slap match, and then he goes into Ben Askren's dressing room and goes into Jake Paul's dressing room. And so he goes into Jake Paul's first, and they're having like a cordial conversation, whatever, about the fight. And then later in the show, Pete Davidson goes into Ben Askren's dressing room, and what he says to Ben Askren is just I love it. I was like so juiced when he's saying this. So let's take a listen.
So I immediately was like, what the fuck? Because nobody wants you to lose this.
You know what I
Really?
mean?
You want me to win?
Yeah, nobody wants to see Jake Paul win. I have to be nice. You have to understand, I'm hosting. I have to be nice in there. He has 8 dudes standing around him with literally nothing
kind of
to lose.
embarrassing.
Yeah, nobody likes him. Everybody's rooting for you on
Really?
this one.
I feel like that, but there's that celebrity culture. And I'm not a real celebrity. I'm just kind of like this minor celebrity. He's got a big following.
No,
so like...
real celebrities don't like him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, yeah. This is a whole circus of a joke. Of a thing. But that being said, the kid can totally kick my ass.
So it's like even if Jake Paul's a decent fighter, he's still a shitbag as a human being.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to get, the message to the kids is that he is a piece of shit. Anyway, guys.
Pete, I didn't know we were talking about having so much fun.
Oh no, we're here with Ben Askren before the fight. Good luck, Ben. Thank you so much for letting us come in here.
You got it.
Appreciate you.
Oh, man.
Back to you guys.
So Pete Davidson was 100% cheering for Ben Askren, and I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But and he's even out there, and he was like, he's like, fuck Jake Paul. Like, he's on the announcing team, and he's like, fuck Jake Paul. Let's go Ben Askren. But yeah, I mean, I will apologize. I will apologize to the fans that I will apologize to my financial advisor that I should not have told people to go bet on Ben Askren. And my financial advisor called me in the morning and went, what the fuck? What the fuck? He didn't really. But yeah, I will apologize to the fans that I told to go bet on Ben Askren. That was rough. That was rough. But anyways, we'll move on. Something else that happened on the weekend, which is kind of a cool concept.
You think so? Well, let's get into it first. But,
yeah.
Okay.
So okay. Long story short, in soccer, in football, in Europe, there's a bunch of different leagues. There's Premier League, there's La Liga, there's Bundesliga, and a ton of other ones. And basically, within each of these leagues, each league has a top team. So like La Liga is like Barcelona, Real Madrid. Premier League is like Manchester United, so on and so forth. And so these top clubs from across Europe have decided or are discussing the idea of creating their own super league, they're calling it, where basically only the top clubs, they'll make their own league and they'll play each other.
I have the list here of the 12 teams.
Go ahead.
So it's AC Milan, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Juventus, Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, Real Madrid, and the Tottenham Hotspurs.
So, I mean, like, and soccer fans are so upset at this.
They are fuming right now.
So I actually have a clip from a reporter, I guess, who covers soccer. I don't know. I've never seen this guy in my life, but he had some very, very choice words about this idea of taking the biggest teams and having them form their own league to play off against each other.
Enough is enough. There isn't a football fan in this country that won't be seething and shouldn't be seething listening to this conversation and these announcements. Manchester United fans, Roy loves United, I love United, Michael loves Manchester City. This is disowning your own club stuff, this. This is disowning your own club. Seriously. How could you even think to come and watch a Super League here where you've left your 14 clubs in the Premier League behind to play against each other? Your Championship club's dead. Your EFL 1 and 2 club's dead. Your National League, your pyramid system that you've fought for 150 years has gone because of 6 clubs. Absolutely embarrassing. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Let them break away, but honestly, punish them straight away. Just punish them. If they announce a letter of intent has been signed as 6 clubs, they should be punished heavily. Massive fines, points deductions, take the titles off them. Who cares?
So he's pretty upset. Kurt, what do you think about this idea?
So I actually I was trying to get a gist of how a lot of people felt about this. So I was asking people I knew that were big soccer fans, like English soccer fans especially, And my opinion, like it's almost like it's now, because if we look at North American sports, we're used to that. All our best teams play in the same league.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's
Right.
majority
Yeah.
of
No.
the
Yes,
league,
they do. They do.
right? Like I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't think of a major league in North America where that's not the
Hundred
way
percent.
it's
Hundred
formed.
percent.
And then, so when you talk to them now, they kind of feel like this is because of a lot of new American owners or like North American owners, companies that are taking over these English teams. But then you go back to Real. I think Real Madrid is kind of the founder. There's a couple teams that are naming the founders, but they're the actual founder of this. And
Mhm.
it's honestly, it's just like a selfish like ideology of how to form this league. It's all about money. Because the whole
Yeah.
point of how soccer's been built for years is the ability, the growth of the sport, the challenge.
Mhm.
Like, where does the Champions League go from here?
Right.
Right?
That's
Like,
true.
that's the whole idea behind it. And it's just because these teams don't. I mean, most of them are in that every year, but now you don't have to worry about ever not being a part of it. Like on those the odd chance that you don't make it or however that works, right?
Mhm.
And then the tier. So all these players could face bans from international play. So how does that work now? FIFA World Cup, you don't see the best players on the pitch. It just seems like a selfish idea because these clubs know they'll make even more money than it already do. Instead of helping their country's teams that are growing, trying to create a following and getting stronger, like because you have like I know England, there's like 3 or 4 different tiers, right? Teams get
Right.
relegated, teams get promoted, and that happens across Europe. And all you're leaving all those teams who aren't in the same financial situation as you, and then you're taking away the best teams, like then their following is going to suffer because those big teams draw all that money to those leagues. So it's just a really selfish ideology. Is basically, I don't know if that's necessarily, I guess that is my opinion as well.
Right.
But when I talk to some people who are big soccer fans, they almost feel like they've been betrayed. Like those teams have betrayed those fan bases that have been there for some hundreds of years, or obviously not those specific people or followings, but as a culture of those teams throughout their history.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the idea, I guess, and it's because all I watch really is North American sports.
That's what
And
I was
so
having like sorry, like
it's
I was trying to separate that, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm the same as you. Like I was trying to think about how I watch sports, and I was like, okay, but if putting it in perspective and the different tournaments, they have tournaments in Europe for those reasons to
Right.
see a best on best. So like I'll let you go ahead after this and add on to
Well,
this. But yeah,
I'll ask you because this is the only comparison that I could draw from this whole Super League idea is if you took the top college football programs from the SEC, from the Big 10, from the Big 12, like take all the football conferences in college football right now, and you take the top programs out of each of those conferences and they make their one conference. That is the only comparison that I could draw really is college sports. And for me, I mean, uh, it's 100% a financial decision that these teams know that they can make a boatload of money, and that if they are going to play the best teams in the world every night, that they're going to make even more money. And I get that. But the thing I'll say is, like it or not, it's it's a business, right? And so like it might suck for those smaller market teams, but like you and I know, like when we watch hockey, right? Like we watch hockey, like the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers one year got like $40 million from the league, and so they can't sustain themselves financially just on their own. Same with the Phoenix Coyotes. That's why they've been sold a bunch of times. Even the New York Islanders, they lose money every year. Like it's just at some point there is the debate between having all these teams and potentially growing the game, or you just have the teams that can financially support themselves, and you actually, I think, get better, whatever it is, soccer, hockey, whatever it is, you get better quality of games because you have less teams, And so all those good players, they funnel their way to those really big teams. So I mean, I get the argument that it feels like you're leaving other teams behind and you're betraying them, but at some point, if you're a big market team, you have to really consider, well, why am I giving X amount of dollars to the poorest team? Like, it's a business.
I think a lot of people were pretty upset too, because those teams are taking their history that they've made with those leagues that those leagues have made for them. Because all those teams can't win this Super League. So you're only in this Super League because you were super successful due to your league, right? And your league play or your Champions League. Because only several of those teams have a multiple like Champions League titles. You're taking all the history you've made in your own league and then just using it now for this. And think about this, because I know Liverpool is one of the best teams in England now, but a few years back when they weren't quite as talented and they had to sell, the ownership sold them to this American group, and now you're taking advantage of that, and you're getting into the Super, right? So I can see why the fans would see the betrayal. We'll go back to the college comparison you made. Think about March Madness. People love March Madness. What's the format for that? 64 teams, right? And it's a single elimination. That's a similar way to how Champions League works. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're 64 as well. So and how electric is March Madness? We always talk about how it's one of the best tournaments of the year, one of the best sporting events. Like, that's the best on best at the end, and you get that result of being the Champions League, like the champion of that.
Yeah,
I think you're going to take that away, making this Super League, and then that feeling is gone. Like, you have an ability to see a best on best, and especially if we see these guys, players, teams get bans, international play won't be the same as well. And that's another one of the biggest events that we see.
Yeah, that I don't really get. Like, I mean, I honestly I don't know where, I guess it's FIFA, where they get off thinking that like it would be like the Olympics determining or determining how the NHL runs their league. Like, I don't know where they get off doing that, saying, "Oh, if you do this in your league, you're not going to be able to play in our league." What the fuck? What does that have anything to do with your tournament? I don't get.
I also think that these teams clearly hold the leverage, right? Like, they make the most money for those organizations too. Like, if you take those out, yeah, people will still watch, but if you take out the best players in the world, what's your product look like now?
That's true.
So
I mean, it's a debate. Like, it's early stages.
That's what I was going to say that too. I don't know. We're going to have to pay close attention to where they go from here, because there's a lot of controversy surrounding this.
Well, I know JP Morgan, like the American bank, has like $5.5 billion behind this idea. So like, we'll see where it goes. Like, there's a lot of money at play here.
Yeah.
But it's early. It could change. They could change their mind, but we'll see. Last night, so this will come out Wednesday morning, I guess. So Monday night, Patrick Marleau broke Gordie Howe's record for most games played in the NHL. What was it? 1,767, something like that?
67, 68, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
One of those.
So he broke the record. I don't have as much respect for Patrick Marleau and him breaking this record as I probably should. But I want to get your take on it. Like, what do you think about, breaking an all-time games played record? And like what do you think about it?
I feel like I know where you're going with this. Like, you're going to say like it's not quite as impressive as I'll give a scenario. If Ovechkin breaks in 4 years the goals record, like, obviously we're going to look at that a lot different, right?
Right.
Because it's an individual, like, you're the best of the best. This is more of a longevity thing, but still, I think it's incredible, the longevity. You have to be incredibly durable to play that long, to be able to still make a roster. Even we've seen how many people at the age of even 33 just don't have it like they did at 27. They just
fizzle out.
Yep. So
Look at
I
Rick
think
Nash.
yeah, like, and I mean, there's every year there's countless examples, but I think that's a lot of hockey, and I'm trying to think, he's 41, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Like that's pretty good. Like 41, because
Yeah.
Gordie Howe was
He was old.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what was the exact age. I can't remember what the exact age was, but even guys like there's still Chara's 44 now, Joe Thornton's 43, like, and they're not doing it, and they're still 3 or 4 years older, right? So it just shows you the durability, and every single year you playing 82 games, like that takes a
Yeah.
lot.
He hasn't missed
So
a game since 2009.
I think it's pretty
That's
incredible.
crazy.
That's absolutely insane. Like I think it's a pretty incredible achievement.
Now, what I will say, why I don't have as much respect for this record. It's a record for showing up. And that is an accomplishment. Like you said, the durability, the ability to, not get hurt, to still play at a high level. That's true. But if Patrick Marleau wasn't 40, like at the beginning of this year, if he wasn't 40 something games off the record, Patrick Marleau wouldn't have been in the NHL. He's not. I mean, you can look at the numbers. He's not an NHL caliber player anymore. I mean, the guy has like 8 points in 45 games. He's not. You could even argue last year he wasn't an NHL player. There's a legit argument for that. And I think the only reason that he broke this record was because at the beginning of the year he was 40 something games off. San Jose wasn't any good. That's where he's played his whole career. He could play there probably as long as he wanted because they have so much respect for the guy. So when you take all those into account, you're asking yourself, if it wasn't Patrick Marleau and it wasn't the San Jose Sharks, would he have broken this record? I don't think so. He's not the caliber of play. He's not an NHL player anymore. Let's not get that twisted.
Yeah, and you're not on your own with that take, because I was just like, obviously this morning when I went on Twitter, I just wanted to see what everyone was saying about it, and there was plenty of people that had very similar thoughts on that, and they said basically, I think it might have been Steve Simmons of the Toronto Sun, I think it's Sun, but I mean, people have some opinions on him too, but anyways, he was one person I saw that was like, yeah, like it's great that you play that many games, but for the last several years, Patrick Marleau has not been a very good NHL player. Like not quite, he was basically saying that Gordie Howe left. He was obviously older as well, but he still had some quality hockey in his last few years. But so like you're not on your own with that take.
Right. And the thing that another part to this where I don't have a lot of respect for Patrick Marleau. Not for Patrick Marleau. Patrick Marleau I have a lot of respect for, but him breaking this record is because when he was with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and obviously I would watch him every game. When they would have the All-Star break, so they'd have that week off, right? When that week was over and they started playing again, the first 3 games he was incredible. He was hard on the puck. He was fast. He was scoring goals. He was setting guys up. He was good. Like he was playing really, really well. But then he would slowly, like just get tired. You could tell he was tired, right? He didn't have the same jump and whatever. And there were times where the media and fans were suggesting, hey, Patrick Marleau should, he should take a few games off, rest, come back, and you'll be rested. You'll play at that high level again for the next however many games, 10 games. He wouldn't do it. He had the Iron Man streak going. He was going to go for for this record for all-time games played, and he wouldn't sit out. And that was to the detriment of the team, because he was in the lineup, and it was basically playing with 11 forwards because he didn't play good. And so, to me, that's a very selfish move on Patrick Marleau's by him to not take the rest so he can play better and help the team down the road. that is the exact same as if Alex Ovechkin was 15 goals off the pace or whatever. Let's say he was 50 goals off the pace of Wayne Gretzky for all-time goals. And Alex Ovechkin just refused to pass the puck. And he just started shooting all the time. That is the exact same. The exact same from not taking time off, from not sitting to rest yourself so you can play better, is the exact same to not passing the puck when you could get the all-time goals record. The exact same. That's why I do not have a lot of respect for this. The last thing I will say is, and this is like kind of just like you're nitpicking here. Gordie Howe also played over 400 games in the WHA. So he left the NHL, went to the WHA, came back to the NHL, and kept playing. So Gordie Howe is really still the
because there's another
all-time
400 games dead.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But anyways, that's what I'll say. It was a selfish move by Patrick.
That's an interesting take. That's an interesting perspective. Probably an unpopular one, to be honest, with a lot of people. But that's, you know what? That's a good way. Like, it's a good perspective to have on it, because when you talk about the Ovechkin thing, like if my team was a contender and that became like an issue, then you start taking that into consideration, right? You're like, that is getting selfish because you're looking at the bigger picture. Yeah. So it's an interesting way to look at it.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll wrap up. Again, these short formats, if you haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe, rate the show wherever you're listening to it. We will get into some picks for the night. Kurt, what do you got for Wednesday night?
All right. I'm going to take the Predators over the Blackhawks, the Habs over the Oilers, the Phillies over the Giants, and the Nationals over the Cardinals.
I like the picks. Mixing it up, hockey and baseball. I'll do the same thing. Wednesday night, I'm taking Edmonton over Montreal. I'll take the Houston Astros over the Colorado Rockies, who have just looked terrible this year. I mean, just awful. And I will also take the Mets over the Cubs. So go lock those in. Those are guarantees. We'll be back. I guess we'll be back Friday, right?
Friday,
Kurt?
Yep.
All right.
Friday.
See you on Friday, everybody.